All right, this one's messy, in the best way. Today's story is from a guy named Danny. His coworker asked him to pretend to be her boyfriend for one night just to make her ex jealous. Problem is, they forgot to stop pretending. And trust me, how this one ends, or doesn't, is going to stick with you. Let's get into it.
My name's Danny. I'm 26. I work in the accounting department of a mid-sized logistics company just outside Denver. Freight, shipping, the boring stuff that keeps the world moving. And I'm not going to sit here and sell myself as some kind of catch because I'm not. I'm the quiet guy in the office, the reliable one. Funny if you actually get to know me, completely invisible if you don't. I'm the guy who's everybody's friend and nobody's first choice. I figured that out about myself a long time ago, and I'd mostly made my peace with it. Mostly. And then there was Chloe. Chloe worked 2 desks over from me, marketing department. And she was, man, how do I even explain Chloe? She was one of those people who's just lit up from the inside. This big, honest laugh you could hear across the whole floor. Always had snacks she'd share with anybody. Remembered everyone's birthday, remembered your dog's name, remembered that you'd mentioned once you had a dentist appointment and asked how it went. She was the person who made a gray little office feel like somewhere you didn't totally dread walking into every morning. And I had the world's dumbest, quietest, most hopeless crush on her for about a year. Never said a word, not one, because Chloe had a boyfriend, Marcus. Marcus. Okay, I'm going to try to be fair here, but it's hard. Marcus worked in sales, up on the 3rd floor, and he was one of those guys. Good looking in the way where he clearly spent time thinking about it. Loud, firm handshake he held 2 seconds too long. The kind of guy who claps you on the shoulder a little too hard and calls you chief and big guy and never once remembers your actual name. And him and Chloe had this on-again, off-again thing that was honestly exhausting to watch from 2 desks away. They blow up, they break up, she'd be a wreck for a week, puffy eyes at her desk, that big laugh gone quiet. And then he'd come sniffing back around with some big grand gesture, flowers on her desk for everyone to see, and boom, they'd be back on. Round and round and round. The whole office had a front row seat. We could have sold tickets. And right when this story picks up, they were in an off phase, and a bad one. He'd ended it, again, but this time word had gotten around that he'd already been seen out with somebody new, some girl. And Chloe was doing the brave face thing, showing up put together, laughing on cue. But you could tell. If you paid attention, and I paid a lot of attention, you could tell. The laugh had gone thin that month. She was running on fumes and pride. So, there was this thing coming up. Every summer, our company threw this big party, rented out an actual nice venue downtown. Everybody brought their plus ones, open bar, catering, a DJ, the whole production. It was genuinely a big deal. The social event of the year for our little corporate world. And here's the thing everybody knew. The thing hanging over that whole month. Marcus was going to be there. And there was a very real, very cruel chance he was going to bring the new girl. Walk her right in. And one Thursday afternoon, Chloe rolled her chair over to my desk. Now, she did that sometimes, usually to steal my good pens because I was the only one who kept decent pens. But this time, she had a different look on her face. Nervous. She glanced around to make sure nobody was close, and she lowered her voice and she said, "Danny, I'm about to ask you something completely insane, and you are 100% allowed to say no." And I said, "Okay, now I'm nervous." And she just went for it. She said, "Come to the summer party as my boyfriend. Fake. Just for one night. Marcus is bringing that girl. I already know it, and I physically cannot walk in there alone and stand around while he parades her in front of everyone and the whole office looks at me with that pity face. I need to walk in with somebody. I need to look fine, better than fine. I need to look like I moved on first and moved on better. And you," and she kind of laughed, "you're the only guy in this whole building I actually trust not to make it weird." And there it is. The only guy I trust not to make it weird. That one sentence right there, that tells you everything about what I was to her. Safe, harmless, comfortable. I was the human equivalent of a cardigan, the reliable friend you can ask to fake date you precisely because there's zero risk of it meaning anything. And every single ounce of self-respect I had left was screaming at me. It was going, Danny, do not do this. Do not sign up to spend an entire evening pretending to have the exact thing you have secretly wanted for a year and are never actually going to get. That is not a favor. That is a very specific and creative form of self-torture, and you are volunteering for it. And then I looked at her face, and she was working so hard to keep it light, to make it a joke. But underneath it, she was just hurting. Embarrassed, she even had to ask. Tired of being the girl everyone pitied. And I heard my own voice from somewhere far away say, yeah, okay, of course I will. Idiot. Complete idiot. But there it was. So we planned the whole thing out like it was a bank robbery. She texted me the details, an actual list. On the drive over, we carpooled, which already did something funny to my chest. She coached me the whole way. Okay, backstory. We've been together 2 months. We met through a mutual friend. Keep it vague. You think I'm hilarious. You're going to hold my hand when we walk in. Is that okay? And you're going to put your hand on my back when we talk to people. And Danny, I swear to God, please, look like you actually like me. And I said, yeah, I think I can handle that part. And she went quiet for a second, looked at me kind of sideways like she was trying to figure out if I meant something by it. And then she just went, good, okay, good, and looked back at the road. And I stared out the window and told my heart to shut up. And we walked in, and I took her hand. And I have to tell you about that because it's such a small, stupid thing, but it's the whole story. Her hand in mine. Just the warm, simple, ordinary fact of it. Fingers laced together. I had wanted that specific tiny thing for a year and never let myself even picture it, and now here it was. And it was completely fake. It was a performance for an audience of one jerk from sales, and it was still, hands down, the best thing that had happened to me in months. That's how sweet and how pathetic the whole night was, right from the door, both at the exact same time. And sure enough, Marcus was there, with the new girl on his arm. And I felt Chloe spot them across the room, felt her hand tighten in mine for just a second, and I watched her pull her shoulders back and lift her chin. And I did the only thing I actually know how to do in this life, which is I leaned in close, and I said something dumb and quiet in her ear. And she laughed. Not the performance laugh, her real one, the big one. It just burst out of her. And across the room, Marcus heard it, and he looked over, and he saw her, glowing, laughing, leaning into some guy he half recognized from accounting, and I watched something cross his face that he did not like at all. And Chloe felt it land, and she squeezed my hand again, and under her breath she went, okay, that worked. Wow. And she sounded almost surprised. Almost happy. And that was supposed to be the mission. That was the whole point. Make him jealous, hold our heads high, leave. Simple. And here's where it stopped being a plan. Here's where it got away from both of us. Because we were good at it. We were terrifyingly, effortlessly good at it. And I mean, we didn't have to try. After the first round of look happy for Marcus, we kind of drifted to a table in the corner with a couple of drinks and we just started talking. And not fake talking, really talking. The realest I'd talked to anybody in years. She told me she actually hated marketing, genuinely hated it, and that what she really wanted, the thing she'd wanted since she was a kid, was to do photography, portraits. She had a whole plan for it she'd never told a soul. I told her about my dad and about stuff I don't tell people. She told me she thought I was so quiet because I was shy, and it turned out I was just quiet because nobody at that office had ever really asked me anything. 2 hours went by like 10 minutes. We completely forgot about Marcus. Forgot about the new girl. Forgot the entire reason we'd come. The party could have caught fire, and I don't think either of us would have noticed. At some point, she put her head on my shoulder, and she said, "In case he's looking." But I glanced up, and he wasn't looking. Nobody was looking. There was no audience left. It was just us in the corner. And she left her head there anyway. And I sat as still as a human being can possibly sit because I did not want to give her a single reason to move. And at the end of the night, out in the parking lot, standing by my car with the music thumping faint behind us, there was this moment, you know the moment, where the night's technically over and neither person is walking away and the air gets thick. She looked up at me, and the joke was gone from her face, all the way gone. And she said, real quiet, "You didn't have to be that good at it, you know." And my heart was slamming so hard I could barely hear myself. And I said, "Chloe, I wasn't acting." And she just looked at me for a long, long time. And then she said, so soft I almost missed it, "I know." And she reached up and touched the side of my face just for a second, just with her fingertips. And then she got in the car. And we drove home mostly in silence, but it was a completely different silence than the one on the way there. It was a loud silence, a full one, the kind where everything's being said and nobody's talking. And this is the part where I really wish I could tell you it wrapped up nice and clean. Boy finally gets girl, roll the credits, everybody claps. But that's not how it went, because that's never how these things actually go. The next couple of weeks were something else. There was a text thread that ran till 2 in the morning some nights, about nothing, about everything. There was a lunch that was very much not a work lunch. There was one night at her apartment where we put on a movie and then talked straight through the entire thing and never saw a minute of it, and I left at 3 a.m., not sure what we were, but absolutely sure it was something. It was tender. It was real. For the first time in my whole life, I felt like I was somebody's actual first choice, not their safe fallback, not the cardigan. I felt chosen. And then Marcus came back. Of course he did. That was the whole pattern, wasn't it? The new girl fizzled out. They always did. And one Monday, he showed up at Chloe's desk with the big, apologetic eyes and a bouquet the size of a small tree, and some speech I couldn't hear but could absolutely picture. And I watched the entire thing unfold from 2 desks over, the exact same spot where I'd watched it happen a dozen times before. Except this time it was different. This time I had her head on my shoulder, and her fingertips on my face, and a 2 a.m. text thread, and I thought, surely this time is different. And Chloe went quiet again. That's how I knew before I knew. The distance crept back in. The late texts just stopped. She'd still smile at me in the break room, but it was the old smile. The friendly one. The cardigan one. And I felt the whole thing slipping through my fingers. And I couldn't stand not knowing what I even was anymore. So one evening, after almost everybody'd left, I walked over and I just asked her, straight out. I said, "Chloe, that night, the weeks after all of it, was that real? Or was I just a really good way to feel better while Marcus was gone?" And she didn't answer right away. She looked down at her desk for a while. And when she finally spoke, she didn't say yes and she didn't say no. She said, "Danny, it was the most real thing I've felt in longer than I can remember. And I genuinely don't know what to do with that." She said, "And that's not fair to you. None of this is fair to you, and I'm so sorry." She said, "I'm a mess. Marcus he's a habit I can't seem to break, even though I know exactly what he is. And you're the thing I should want. You're the good one. And I hate that I'm even able to say it to you like that, like you're a decision I haven't made yet." And that was it. That's where it stopped. No clean ending. No, and then she chose me and we lived happily ever after. No, and then I finally walked away with my head high and found somebody who deserved me. Just a question mark. A great big one. hanging in the air of an office where I still sit 2 desks away from her every single day. So that's where it is, right now, today. As I'm telling you this, we're not together, but we're not together either. Marcus is around, but I don't think he's all the way back. She still comes over and steals my pens. And sometimes she catches my eye across the office and there's this thing in her face. This soft, sad, sorry, unfinished thing. And I honestly can't tell if it's an apology or a promise or just a maybe, a not yet. I don't know. And I keep asking myself the same question you're probably asking me right now. Was any of it real? And here's the only honest answer I've got. I think it was real for both of us. I really do. I've turned it over 1,000 times, and I don't believe she was using me. I don't. I think she felt every bit of it exactly as much as I did. I just don't think that feeling something and being brave enough to actually choose it, I don't think those are the same thing. Not for everybody. Marcus is the devil she knows, and I'm the leap she can't quite make herself take. And I could tell you I'm going to march over there and give her an ultimatum, or move on, or transfer to a different department and do the healthy, self-respecting thing. And maybe someday I will. But you want the real truth? The embarrassing one? I'm still here, still hoping she gets brave. Which probably makes me the fool of this whole story. The guy who agreed to fake it for one night and then couldn't stop feeling it. The cardigan who wanted, just once, to be the leap somebody actually took. We were supposed to pretend for one night. That was the deal. One night. And I forgot to stop. And the thing that keeps me up, I really think she forgot to stop too. I just don't know if that's ever going to be enough. So no, I don't have an ending for you. I'm sorry. I'm still standing in the middle of it, 2 desks away, waiting to find out how it goes. If you figure out what I'm supposed to do here, you let me know. Because honestly, I've got no idea.